All right, I'm back. After some unforeseen issues, I should say some sudden changes in my medical life, I'm back. Whenever I stopped doing this was the day that I found out my liver has some kind of problem, which is very rude because I have created a palace for my liver. Okay? I don't drink. I don't take any supplements. I don't even take the multivitamin that my doctor says I should take. And my liver enzyme just kept on climbing. And TBH, it hasn't exactly gotten sorted out, but I did get a ultrasound of my liver, which confirms that the actual organ is A-OK, which is a good thing to not have to be concerned about. But it all kind of happened at once, and I did not like it. And here we are. I'm back. I'm trying to think. I have a light that I have put on. I don't know if I did it correctly. Just, want to give myself just like a little pop. Yeah, it was a month ago when I last streamed. And that would have been right when... Yeah, it was a month ago when I last streamed. That would have been right when I got those initial liver results. So I was feeling guilty because my initial plan for all of this was to do it all the time, but then I ended up and still end up, I have to go to all these specialist appointments, which are in the middle of the day often. But you know what? I've determined I'm not dying any faster than any of the rest of us. So I'm going back to streaming myself sending emails, and that's the little thing I like to call bravery. The kid graduated from preschool yesterday. It was cute. It was sad. She was at the same school. She had the same teacher for 3 years. She did such a good job of feeling those feelings. She cried a little. Then she stopped crying. Okay, this light looks nuts. I'm turning it off. I've done like a bunch of interviews with it, though, which leads me to believe that was not wise. Today's a little bit of a slower day. Let me fix this camera. One thing you can't see is in the corner of the office, my daughter and I have set up a series of science experiments. We have our ant farm, and we have some caterpillar larvae They're multiple. There's 5 of them. The catties that are going to turn into butterflies. I think they might cocoon today. Let's see what they're doing. Oh my God. Pruny, that little asshole. Our cat Pruny got in here and knocked them all over. Oh no, I think one of them's dead. And then the ant farm, those buddies are doing good. They are really, really, really digging holes. I don't think I'm not entirely certain that that we got as many as we needed. Because I was both afraid to take them out of their little tube because I'm afraid of bugs, but I love my daughter, and they were in transit from the ant from Uncle Milton's farm. Okay, good. The thing is still working. For over a week in questionable situations. Okay. I have a call at 1. My book is coming out in a little over a week. Right now I have to make Google alert for my name because someone died with it. They have my name and they died and it's not me. Okay. So this summer is going to be focused on trying to do my job better, trying to do what I told everyone I would do for my book. By everyone, I mean the HarperCollins, Harper One, and trying to figure out what is going on with my health. Which I still don't know. But you know what? I was bound to get a little messed up because I've been learning pretty hard in the paint the last few years, which is a phrase that I have been saying constantly for unknown reasons. It's fun to say it. And focusing a lot on young daughter, perhaps at the expense of self. And I have learned a thing or two about this, such as I will not do that at the exclusion of self. Or to the exclusion, I guess. All right. Okay, let's make a spreadsheet. people I need to send the book to. Name, mailing address, affiliation, notes. Oh, that doesn't look right. And I'm doing a sleep apnea test, and it's just the one with the finger. I was hoping to get the ones with the head electrodes. But you gotta do it a bunch of nights in a row. And I keep getting nervous about it. And so anyway, I'm on like night 4 of doing it so that they hopefully get enough information that they can tell me if I have the apnea. Because sleep apnea would explain a series of things. Plus, I really just want, if I do have the apnea, I'm interested in a CPAP, you know? I want to practically douse myself in air every time I go to sleep. And then I will finally sleep well, potentially for the first time in years. Podglomerate founder podcasters. Interviewing beginning of July. We need to get talking next week. All right. Format. Wrap. And Joanna and Danny are in Staten Island. I miss them. I'll see them tomorrow. As part of all this health stuff, I've had to stop eating any added sugar for most of the time, although I am being a little fast and loose with that because I have a coffee that I ordered. I can't believe Pruny knocked over all the caterpillar larvae. It's my fault. Got in here. Now she knows. Some good note, Prune, you're not on. This is our bug experiment. One thing I really like, I guess the only thing I really like when Danny and Joanna are in Staten Island is watching the cats miss Joanna and do stuff they wouldn't normally do when she's around. And Hector and Lulu, our elders, have been sleeping in her bed. And it's so nice. Helene, I heard you're not feeling well. I hope you feel better. Okay. Now what? So right now I'm trying to get addresses for people I want to send the book to. But I don't. That's why I'm on my phone. Gotten really into threads. It just feels like so bleak. Because it is my place. It is my place. Okay, I'm just going through people who followed me recently. Let's see. Okay, let's see who else I have to ask to do this. Yeah, I'm tired. Slept well last night, I will say. That's the main benefit of it's the main benefit of forgot what I was saying because I'm doing all this stuff. Writing an essay about my mom. It's a big reason I've had trouble, I think, promoting this book. Is a big part of the book has to do with some stuff that happened with my mom. And my mother is one of those rare people who suffered and suffers with addiction for her entire life, for much of her life. And she decided later in her life, which is like, I think even more remarkable, to change. And she got sober about 9 years ago. And I'm just in constant awe of her. And of course I was in awe of her prior because she's my mom. I mean, the thing is, and now that I'm gonna write about this, but like when I had a kid, oh, Helene, the first two headaches you've had? Ugh. I'm like obsessed with my mom. And I totally get it. Especially now that I have a daughter. Like, I used to think I was obsessed with my mom, and I probably was, in a way that was like not quote unquote normal. But my mom was and is like the center. Of course, like she was the center of my life. And it just so happened that she suffered from addiction. And that was hard. And addiction specifically is, I think, a difficult thing for kids to get, because it's this idea of, you know, especially when you're learning the sense of like you can make choices for yourself, and then you see a parent making what you perceive and probably is bad choices, and then you think, well, why are they choosing to do this thing that's hurting them and hurting me? And of course, like there's a way more nuanced look, you know, take on addiction. I do think that addiction, especially the addictive personality, which I definitely have, I've just funneled it in other directions, is something that you're born with, and that is sort of activated perhaps by things that you experience as a kid. It's like how they say that, like, you know, certain diseases or whatever, like people are susceptible to them, but then something happens in their lives that then causes them to have it. And I think that there's something there as it relates to addiction. Anyway, a big part of the book, at least the childhood stuff, which is so annoying. I don't like reading about anyone's childhood. It's like, okay, you were born, then what? Let's get to like when you had free will. but there's a central essay in the book that's about how I, in my specific like nutty bananas way, attempted to fix it, and you can't fix it. Can't fix that. You guys, the folks got to fix them, figure out what they want to do. You can't force anyone to get sober or to change in any way. And that is a real hard thing for anyone to wrap their heads around, especially kids. But that didn't stop me from trying. But I am concerned because my mom and I have gone years at points when I was an adult where she didn't want to speak to me. And I'm worried that that's going to happen again. One would think I would have, I don't know, done something about this before. But I didn't. Danny, a couple of weeks ago, was like, he said jokingly, why don't you just make a version of the book where you redact everything having to do with your mom? And I was like, that's so smart. That's so wise. And then he was like, I was kidding. But then I, of course, had in that minute long period of time started like enacting what that would look like. I hate asking people for favors. Ugh. Such a bummer. Who could be calling me? Oh, I know. It's the pharmacy. The pharmacy is calling me. I will pick that up when I get around to it. Okay. Okay, I have to email another person. Tomorrow I'm seeing 2 of my friends at 8 in the morning, and I cannot love that time frame for social situations more. 8 to 10. We're going to meet on Cortellu. And then I'm going to work on this thing I have to write. And then I will write for 2 hours, and then I'm going to go to a yoga alignment workshop. someone just offered to do me a very nice favor, who I used to work with at ABC. So kind. I asked her how much it would cost, and she just said, I want you to be successful. It's very nice. Addresses, but I'm better to do it via official channels. Oh, someone's calling me. Let's see. I think I know who this is. Hold, please. Let's see. Hello? I think it is. Let's see. I've got. No, let's see. It's not who I thought it was. How are you? Oh, mysterious one. I think it will. Let's go with room temp zinf. I think is something that we talked about. Were you room temp Zinfandel work drama person? Okay, let's forget everything I've said to date in this call. How are you? I'm doing okay. I'm glad to be back on the stream. At least for a little while. Yeah, yeah. I had a little bit of a break, not a psychological one, a just normal break. But now I'm back. But did you say you have some drama? You got some drama to discuss? Ooh, lay it on me. Lay- Mhm. Uh, ugh. And were you one of these three people who worked underneath that person? Okay, okay, all right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Uh huh. Uh huh. Right. Right. Uh huh. Uh huh. I gotta come back. Oh no. Mm-hmm. Whoa. Which is really the way to lead, to rally the troops, in an all staff meeting. It's like, let's just tear everyone down. A lot of families work that way. And that's not good. Then those people end up in therapy if they can afford it later on in their lives. Um, so it's 2 weeks in. The all and his life is potentially flashing before his career life is potentially flashing before his eyes. Um, And so did he like return to the group chat with which I assume exists with his three previous trauma bonds and be like, this is not good. Of course. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. And it will exist forever. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Well, so is he interested in coming back? Mhm. Well, I think he's got a lot of things on his side in terms of that not being the way that he returns because, and I'm sure you've thought of this, of the management change at your current job. Like, he could just be upfront and be like, it wasn't a good situation for a long time. And then you, new boss at old job, came in, but I had already been down the road in this. Like, a big reason I was leaving was the old manager. And, like, now I just realized I perhaps humbly made a mistake. And if are they currently hiring for his old job again? Oh, this is the time. This is the time. Yes, yes. Oh, and make some changes to it to make it perhaps more enticing? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, man. The everyone see, the thing I miss about, essentially having colleagues, because I have a job, but I'm basically a lone dog in this world, is that kind of, light enmeshment with coworkers. Um, so right now with the person who left, is it mainly like is the conversation mainly like, oh no, what did I do? Da, 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 da. Has the idea of the return been broached by anyone but him? Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, I'll bleep it out. Let's call that person Spartacus. Spartacus said, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And did any response come through? Mm-hmm. This no, 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 no. See, I think, at least from my limited, like, anecdotal knowledge, um, I've heard this happen a couple of times with friends of mine who will like get another job offer because of like some shit going on at the current job, leave and then be like, oh no, or quit and not even start yet, which is which is actually, like, I think an even trickier situation to be in, because it's like you just quit, you haven't started yet, but now you're like coming back, but like coming back. I think it's more common than people, or perhaps I'm just this is my series of work enmeshment types, but I think it's more common than one would assume, and that could perhaps lighten the shame load on your ex coworker. Yeah, so you want to take the shame? Yeah. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah. Mm-hmm. and seem to have had a pretty long tenure prior to leaving, right? Like, they were there for at the old job for a while. That's a that's a full stretch. And you can make that, and also, I think that that puts you in a good position if you're able to get your old coworker back in the mix for his old job to go to the new manager as someone who, you know, seemingly has no dogs in the fight. You're not managing anyone. You're like a very valued expert individual contributor to be able to say like, listen, you know, this person's great. Things were different before. Um, or things were particularly troubled due to past management, and I think that, you know, and yet he persisted, and you know, I think that he wants to come back because he loves his work in XYZ organization. Hmm. I love that. I love that every company does that. They're like you. Uh huh. Uh huh. And so is it the kind of thing where they might be testing to see if they can just redistribute the work? Or you don't think Jesus. Yeah. Good for you. Yeah. Good for you for saying that, because I feel like, I don't know, maybe not now in my career, but like certainly 5 years ago, I would have been like, great, add it on to the old Asana board or whatever. I'm your gal, and then I would have, you know, burned out into a pit of flames, and then been mad about it because like, where's my extra money? Question mark. Um, well, it seemed. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. Because then what are they gonna do? Because no one else can do your job. It sounds like. And, mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Indispensable. Yeah. Um, so just without again giving away too many details, new manager person, is your sense that, because I always get the heebie-jeebies a little bit when folks are like, someone leaves and they're like, let's see if we can just redistribute the work, because obviously in media and many other, you know, sectors that's happening a lot. Do you have enough of a sense of the new manager to know if they'd be like, I mean, clearly they're hiring for the job because they're writing a JD, but like, that they have like fully accepted it into their heart and brain that they like do need to replace this person's job? And Spartacus wouldn't, I'm assuming. Hmm. Yeah. That sounds like Spartacus. Hmm. What? And then Spartacus is looking at you, being like, with the eyes, this was not my idea. And of course, you knew, unless Spartacus is pulling a real fast one. Hmm. As usual. Um, here's the other thing, though. I think if so, you have this new boss who seems less evil in the same way as your old boss. Now, if they're actually going through the hiring process, that costs money. Like all that recruitment and shit costs money. And so I'm sure you've already thought of this, but like the other way that this is beneficial for potentially bringing back the person who left is once the JD is essentially drafted, but maybe hasn't like gotten fully approved and hasn't gone up on like whatever godforsaken job CMS your company has, which, like literal rats run those CMSs. Like they have like rats pressing buttons and like sometimes they go up, sometimes they don't. Um, it then like you could before like the full on like recruiting and interviewing process starts, that might be like there's like sort of there could be like kind of a key, and I don't even know if you're asking for advice. I'm just jawing right now, but like I think that there's like a key window there where it's like, hey, old coworker, look at this much better JD, interested? And then even if they're like maybe, then you go to new boss and be like, I don't know. This person was really good. I think they can probably tell you why they left and it seems to me, why they want to come back. And then that puts it on new boss for going to old coworker and like having, a cash call, maybe a meeting or whatever. And the new boss is going to be motivated to make a good impression on the old coworker to come on back because they don't want to spend that extra money and time to hire someone new externally. Yeah. I think the only time I've seen people really relish the new hiring process was like during times in podcasting where like suddenly everyone was acting like money didn't exist, which I didn't like, which was like cool for like my retirement accounts, bad for my mental health because I really like it when like people are acting like money is exists, like it's like a real thing, and like you have to, if you spend it you got to make it back, etc. But like the only time I've ever seen people like love the hiring process is if like a big company, it's like when I worked at Sony and they were like, okay, we have to hire 15 people in a month and we're throwing money at this, bringing in this like great recruiter we used to work with before. And that recruiter loved it because, and was like very highly motivated because of the incentive process that she had, which is that she was paid some kind of lower salary, but then got a certain percentage of all the salaries for whoever accepted. Yeah. Being a recruiter is not a bad job in the right economic situations. Yeah, now's probably not the time given the economy, but eventually. I ran such a good scam when I was at midroll because there was like a $500 referral bonus, I think, but there was no time peg. Usually with referral bonuses, someone has to stay for like 6 months, but during that period of time in like 2017, 2018, if someone just accepted the job, then I just got $500. And I, I successfully referred like 8 people, which is, I think that like helps pay for my Invisalign. Yeah, mid-roll media, may it rest, may it rest. No, but at my old job at ABC Disney, like the recruiters are the only people who like the hiring process because of the way that generally like salaries are set up. But otherwise it just sucks because like no one's I get the I feel like it's also kind of all fake hiring processes because especially at certain levels, because you're not no one has enough time to actually like go through all of the, you know, applications. And so the people that end up getting the job is just someone who knows someone there, and then they just get like kind of zoomed up to the top of the list. That's just what I've seen. Mhm. Aha. Oh, but it Mhm. 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 We're family. Yeah. Oh, no. No. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, with the exception of, like, someone doing some kind of, like, mid-career switch. I mean, that's a tricky job to fill for those reasons. And then also potentially, like, sets up whoever the entry level person is to fail a little bit, because or at least to have a huge onboarding process to get to know the organization. Um, that's another column in favor of your new manager wanting to, assuming they understand that that's like the function of the role in the company, of coming on back. Yeah. Yeah. They're not going to do it. And they're not going to do it happily. Yeah. Mhm. 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 But there might be some perhaps, let's call it optimistic uh ignorance at play here with the new manager trying to find, uh I don't know, trying to find some shortcuts. I think you got to get this person back in, and I think you will. Mhm. Mhm. Well, I think they get hired to be like, everything's fucked up, and it's your job to unfuck it. And then they go in, like, they go hard, and then ruin, and then to try and set this like sense of like authority, KPIs, whatever. But ultimately, uh, you know, I think that that's not, I in my humble, you can have that pressure as a manager, but your goal is to motivate people to do the things they're supposed to do, and not allow all of that stress that is on the manager because of how much they're paid, where they are in the organization, to roll downhill. Yeah. It's like that's like an essential part of the job though, I think. Um yeah. Well, and because it's also kind of an annoying skill. It requires more work, and it also requires to take, I think it also means the manager person who is, just with the way hiring is now, to have to take on a certain level of responsibility and potential culpability if things don't work out, and if they don't, reach the goals for the team that they're supposed to reach, and then, first last one in, first one out, sort of is probably always in the background of said manager, especially if they were external to the organization. I would think, like, they don't want to get fired. Here's another thing. Here's another. I was thinking, in turn, because I'm very invested in you getting your old coworker to return. So he's got a lot of shame around the blah, blah, blah. People make changes, like, like I'm just cataloging of the people I know. I know five non-flakes, successful non-flakes who have done this. So just that doesn't mean anything. I'll publish an academic paper saying I knew five successful non-flakes who didn't have this happen. But you know, I suspect that your old coworker is perhaps feeling a little bit of whiplash and, like, oh my godism, not about like being into God, but being like, oh no, whatever. I said that's strange, but like feeling a little uneasy about the changes that they made. Fine. Here's the thing that they could get that would ultimately, but that is actually the best thing that anyone who is a working adult can get: a month-long gap in which they know they have a job lined up, but they don't have to work. I think that they could, if they did want to come back, because of the expectations around how long it takes to hire, and if the new manager was down with it, he could set a start date that would allow him to actually take a real, like, reset break of like 3 weeks or something. And which, like, I think if you're not really thinking about it, doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But ultimately, that's the adult's dream. That's an adult dream. That's the only real vacation in this world. Yeah. And not, but like, know that, like, you have a job, you know? That happened to me once. Oh, I can't realize, I can't process emotions in the moment that they're happening, but I knew during that time that I had it good. I had it real good. And if I had an aura ring at that time in my life, my sleep scores would have been through the roof because I was, my mind was quiet. Uh, I think I didn't have health insurance, which would bother me now. But um, they could also just, like, depending on whatever this is getting into, we can talk about this at a later date once you successfully do this plan. But like, they could quit their job, assuming they have benefits, at a point in the month where they're like, what is it called, where the company's already paid for them to have insurance, so that they will still have insurance for 3 weeks. It depends on, like, when the company tends to do it. It's either at the beginning of the month or the end of the month. And then you get the true vacay of, like, I can do whatever, and if I have to go to hospital, then I'm not going to be bankrupt. Mhm. They have that, but then also they're gonna have some time to think during that next week. They're gonna have some time to think, and perhaps when they see the new updated JD that perhaps is a little more enticing, they'll get to thinking, They'll get to thinking. And then I bet. Yeah, go ahead. No, please. And be like, "No." And then also, it sounds like this all team meeting happened in one of, like, the first days of the new job. So there wasn't even, like, the honeymoon period of, like, "Oh, I'm making changes from my life that are good." Ugh, yeah, it is true hell. Um, not to completely trash my wonderful husband. But about in like I think it was like 2015, he was at a job for a really long time and had been thinking and had like watched me do my various, like climb up the career thing and was like sort of like I need to climb up the career thing and he got a job as like a director of some kind of marketing thing somewhere and he'd been working at this nonprofit to do that did like STEM curriculum stuff and liked the job fine but was like feeling this pressure to like, you know, get up get up that career ladder. And so he accepted the job offer, quit his job, and then before he started the new job decided that he wanted to stay at his current job. And so yeah, and it was fine. And then he stayed there for another 5 years. And of course, like all office dynamics are different. But I think that like if especially your coworker is able to, with the understanding that there's like this new manager person at the old job, but like is able to like approach it as being like, hey, we all make mistakes. I love this job. Things are different. I don't think anyone's going to hold that against him. And he might even get another welcome lunch. He got a farewell. Listen, he's looking at you got a farewell lunch. Potentially, he's going to get an adult true vacation, and then he's going to get a welcome back lunch, and he's going to see his pals, Spartacus and you. Please, please, please. My prediction, if I had my magic 8 ball in here, which it's actually on my daughter's desk, is that you will have your old coworker back by what is it, June 26th? Clicking around. I'm thinking August 3rd. I'm thinking August 3rd. Yeah, because he's got that vacation. So I'm gonna need to talk to you week of August 10th. I'm gonna need you to make a little note to call in to shameless dot whatever. I know like just this. I need an update. Yeah. Okay, please. And gossip of any varietal. I'll take it. But yes, that's the thing I miss about my current situation. I love gossip about people that I don't know and that it doesn't affect me. That's why I like reality television, you know? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was good. Yeah, I dropped off not because of the new host, but because of like listening behavior. Hashtag listening behavior. But I should get back in on that. And I've been able to, due to like me being adjacent to a lot of like neighborhood mom feuds over the last year. I've gotten a little taste, but because I haven't been involved in any of the feuds, I've just been to the side of them. But I just love to hear about dumb like stuff that's like quotidian. Is that right? Is that how you say it in Le Pain Quotidien? Anyway, about like just like day to day whatevers. No, I just say LPQ. I'm like, do you want to go to the LPQ? Or I'll type it. Yeah. Well, that's the benefit of Le Pain. Yeah. Well, that's the benefit of the little squiggle underliney guy, my best friend. Little squiggly under guy. Well, I've got to call someone now for the job that I'm employed at. Thank you so much for calling back in after my non-adult vacation. Um, I will. I'll be here. Just sitting here, waiting for the calls to roll on in. And if I do anything with the audio, I will make sure that Spartacus is the only name mentioned um, from this conversation. Thank you for your service. Thanks for these boots on the ground. All right. Have a good weekend. Bye. What a delight. to finish doing this, and then in 16 minutes I have to call someone. Wow, what a joy. I love getting phone calls. I need to fix this camera so it doesn't go like direct to the under neck. How often do you wash your hair? All right, I've just acquired another address to send book to. Good nickname for someone would be text rap. Okay, let's see who else. Oh, I got a voicemail from someone telling me I was hot. I have never been more shocked. I sent it to Danny and I was like, guess who still got it?
The thing is, has it been a while since you posted? Because I think you're posting pretty consistently, right? Yeah, I don't know. That might just be it might just be a spammer, but it's totally a message that I would send you a message like that. Makes sense to me.
That was Danny responding to that person who said I was hot. another person agreed to receive my book. I don't like asking for favors, but it's so nice to, I don't know. It's okay. I don't like. Okay, where is my email I was using before? I have 3 email inboxes. 2 people. Danny's exploring if the person who said I was hot is a bot. Get you a man who explores, who figures out if the man who says you're hot is a bot. I really love my husband. Daniel Blondell. If I hadn't met him when I did, I would not have my child. First of all, but also like we just loved LOL. Also, he's a great dad. On my Amazon page, and it's talking about, it has like a list of books, like if you pre-order this you might pre-order that, and there's one book about autoimmune disorders. Let's see how low on various lists it is. Oh, can I not even see that? I started reading a book last night. What? People must be pre-ordering it because it's very low on all lists. So it is right now number 222,076 in books. It's number 182 in business and professional humor. It's number 343 in women and business books. Number 361 in journalist biographies. I have a bachelor's of science somehow in journalism, but I am not a journalist. Or maybe I am. Who knows? Okay, I am going to mute because I have to make a phone call.